Frequency. Chapter 6. Change in Plans. Velvet was cleaning the mugs behind the empty counter.
What, you want another one? What happened to one chug go?
Vinyl shrugged, her eyes on the empty dance floor. It was just the two of them, the club having closed a few minutes ago.
I'm just in the mood.
With a smirk, Velvet leaned over the counter.
Trouble in paradise?
She set a bottle in Vinyl's range.
What the heck are you talking about?
The bottle popped open in Vinyl's magenta aura, and she properly took a chug.
Every morning you're in a hurry to talk to this mare on the radio.
Velvet bumped her shoulder.
Maybe you got hit by a bolt from Princess Cadence.
The fact that Vinyl didn't spill her drink all over herself was a testament to her reflexes. But it didn't stop her from sputtering for a few seconds before slamming the bottle to the table and laughing raucously.
Is that what you think's going on? Seriously, Velvet? Well, I don't know. You won't tell me anything.
The twitch turning the corner of her lip up gave Velvet's scowl away.
If you won't come clean, all I can do is conjecture and listen to rumors.
Vinyl raised an eyebrow.
Who's making rumors? Bouncing, of course. Of course.
Peering eyes set on Velvet, Vinyl added.
And you didn't help any, I bet.
With a light chuckle, Velvet brought her hooves close together and looked at Vinyl from between them.
I may have added just a little. Wonderful.
Another long chug.
Guess I shouldn't worry about it too much. It's not like I've seriously cared about what ponies think of me anyway.
Her thoughts jumped back to her lunch with Flash, prompting a blush.
Well, most of the time. When are you going to go and sweep Addie off her hooves? Stop it!
Yet another chug.
I'm not even a filly fuller.
She thrust her hoof before Velvet's smirking face.
A little experimentation with a certain famous cellist in our high school days does not count. It was just once, for crying out loud!
Hooves held high, Velvet countered with what had to be her most innocent expression.
I didn't say anything. Don't pull my leg, V, you were thinking it! Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Velvet giggled and went back down to cleaning mugs.
I'm never gonna let you live that down. So you say every time it comes up.
Vinyl examined her bottle. She saw that it was about a third full.
I wish I knew what I was thinking back then. I wish I knew what you were thinking now.
Vinyl swung her hoof, missing the grinning bartender by inches.
I bet you still hold the record for most detentions in a high school career. Probably.
Velvet grinned.
I still have that joke plaque Principal Pencil Pusher gave me at graduation.
The two shared a chuckle, and Vinyl finished her bottle. She used her magic to drop it into the garbage.
Well, I should probably go. I'm at a good part with that album I've been working on, and Bull, you're just dying to hear Addie's sweet, sweet voice again.
Velvet set her hooves beneath her chin and batted her eyes.
Go on, be with your little filly.
Vinyl rolled her eyes with a smile and turned for the exit.
I'll see you tomorrow night, V. I'm gonna want to hear the details on some of these rumors later. Aye, aye, Captain.
The first chill of autumn hit Vinyl like a ton of bricks. If there was one thing she didn't like about living in Canterlot, it was the cold that came with being on a mountain. As she trotted through the streets, she took some comfort in the knowledge that the upper levels were much colder. The silly snobs had their equally silly superiority come back to bite them in the flank every winter, and that at least brought a smile to her face. She moved through the town quickly, eager to get into the warmth of her apartment. She stopped by a Southern Coast restaurant that she knew made a great sea petal stew, arriving just as it was opening for the day. The rest was a straight run for her place, dodging the morning ponies who were insane enough to wake up just after sunrise. As she trotted along, the bag of takeout hovering over her shoulder, she thought about the rumors Velvet had mentioned. Addie and her. A couple. Vinyl chuckled at the thought. They hadn't even met in pony yet. Was it possible to fall for some pony when he didn't know what they looked like? Besides, her brief high school fling made it clear she didn't want to go down that particular road. Addie wasn't her type anyway. But then again, who was her type? She'd thought about it before, and... Vinyl shook her head forcefully, tossing away that train of thought before it could gather steam. She had no interest in it because it always led to her having the same depressing conclusions. Still, the ideas ran through her head again. Sensing the trap, she was thrilled to see her apartment come into view around the corner. She would get in, warm up under some blankets, and chat with Addie while enjoying her stew and working on her new album. That would derail the problem for certain. She went through the front door, up the stairs, down the hall, had a brief fight with the keys, then Vinyl took in the warmth of her apartment with glee. She bounced into the doorway with a relieved sigh. A proper coat would be required tomorrow beyond a doubt. Setting her pack aside, she trotted into the kitchen and set the takeout container down before grabbing a blanket from the closet of her bedroom. A yawn escaped her lips as she sat on the cushion by the table. Perhaps the album could wait. Working a few extra hours for bouncing wore her out more than she'd expected. Still, she was comfortable. Her sea petal stew was warm, and she'd had a good night. A little talk with Addie would complete a solid evening. She reached forward and flicked the switch on the radio. She nearly fell on her back as a commercial blared in her ears. A burst of frantic magic turned down the volume. She glared at the radio, rubbing at her tender ears. Had she changed the frequency on accident? She picked up the device to study the display, and cocked her head. No, it was the right frequency. Puzzling over this abrupt change, she took a moment to listen as the radio played more commercials. Then the DJ's voice arose.
Welcome back, everypony, and thank you for listening to the all-new Cats 2 radio station. Expanding your musical world to the very best of—
What?
Vinyl dropped the radio and snatched the microphone.
Can you hear me?
The DJ kept talking, ignorant of her words. She stared at the radio, then the mic. Her heart pounded against her ribs.
Eddie? Eddie? Are you there?
The announcer finished his monologue and some rock music began to play. Vinyl perked her ears towards the radio, listening for any sounds that might be Addie's voice in the background. She heard none.
Come on, Addie. Talk to me. I'm still here. If you can hear me, switch to frequency 36.2.
She turned the knob, and the music was traded for static. A few seconds passed.
Addie? You there?
Time passed.
Come on, Addie. Be there.
Nothing. Her heart in a vice, Vinyl changed back to the old frequency, the rock music filling the room once more.
Addie, please let me hear from you.
As the music continued to play, Vinyl closed her eyes and tried to think. She'd seen this kind of thing happen before, back when she still considered radio chatter a big hobby. But what had her father said about it? She couldn't be sure, something about radio frequencies being magically protected. What would Addie do if she couldn't get through? Vinyl grabbed the radio and began turning the knob to different channels. Static, static, country music, more static. With bated breath, she slowly circled through dozens of frequencies. Never did she hear Addie's voice.
Think, Vinyl, think.
She set the radio down once more and buried her head in her hooves.
I'm late, that's all. Maybe she got tired of waiting and wants it better without me? That makes sense, right?
She looked up, eyes set on the power switch. Taking a long, heavy breath, she used her magic to shut the radio off.
This afternoon.
She pulled her stew close and hunched over its steaming warmth.
She'll be on this afternoon, and we can figure out a new frequency then. This isn't a problem.
The world answered with an unpleasant silence. Vinyl ran through the streets, her breath fogging before her face and the radio hovering just ahead of her. The moon was a faint sliver of light in the clear sky, just barely enough to make her path visible. Canterlot Castle, her destination, towered over her like a silent colossus. Her pounding hoofbeats echoed almost as loudly as the blood in her ears. Her hooves skidded on the cold ground when she made the turn, and she fell on her side. Vinyl wasted no time getting back up, her eyes going over the radio to check it for damage even as she bolted alongside the wall. Her lungs burned from the long gallop across the city, but she didn't dare slow down.
There, the guard entrance.
She slid a second time, nearly falling again. Her hooves pounded the door as she tried to shout, but her voice came out hoarse. It didn't matter, so long as she got some pony's attention. She banged and banged, gasping for breath but refusing to stop. At last, the door opened, but only a crack, and a sleepy-looking mare with a guard's golden helmet poked her head out. She scowled at the breathless Vinyl.
What the heck? Flash, sentry.
Vinyl managed to gasp.
Emergency! Let me in!
The guard's pony's scowl lessened as she took in Vinyl's ragged form.
What's this all about?
Vinyl pressed a hoof to her chest and gasped a few times.
I need to see Flash Sentry right now. Some pony's in trouble.
Studying her for several seconds, the guard's pony grumbled and glanced about the empty roadway by the castle.
Well, you sure as Tartarus look like you've got something important to say. I do!
At last, Vinyl was able to suck in a single long lungful of air that recovered her breathing to manageable levels.
Let me in, please. I've got to get help. If Flash can get it for me, I just know it.
The guard rubbed her chin in thought, but finally nodded.
If this is some kind of trick, I'll throw you in the dungeon myself. Get in here and stay quiet.
Vinyl did as she was told. If she weren't in such a frantic state of mind, she might have marveled that even the guards' barracks of the castle had marble floors and vaulted ceilings. Instead, she merely let her hooves dance and waited for the blasted guard to take her precious time relocking the door.
This way.
I completely forgot that radio frequencies are very weird. But hey, there's a solution somewhere. Anyway, let's get on to our smart donators. Top donators are 630, BadassWaffle, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, IronSky, and Jessie Smith. Matchback 109, JockeTF, Darkside Raiden, Narwhals, Black Moon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, Stu Hex, Sword with Remote, Omicron, Library, Winseth, 9852, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Ricehole, Shadow Moon, Luigi 88, Chancellor Crust, Big Smoke 369, Bobcat, GGF, Murder Princess, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.